Good evening. We have to begin today Human and Economic Geography. So please write the reference books. You can start your Human and Economic Geography with reading the old NCRTs. Class 11 Part 2. I repeat again. Class 11 Part 2 NCRT. And the new NCRT, Class 12 Part 1. And then the third reference book will be, that is more for concept building. And that is essential for your preliminary examinations also. And that is G.C. Leong, Volume 2. G.C. Leong, Volume 2. The second part of G.C. Leong. So read these three texts and do the concept building on resources, on industry, on agriculture, on trade and transport. So these four topics have been covered especially for paper 1. Now the next reference book will be again NCRTs, and this time on the Human and Economic Geography for India. The basic, the fundamental references will be reading old NCRT Class 12 Volume 2 Part 2 and new NCRT Class 12 Part 2. So 2 NCRT books. The data and facts in the old NCRT are of 1980s. So sometime you will find it worthless, but I tell you the concepts which are there in the old NCRT, they are based on Leong and Morgan. So Leong and Morgan's work has been simplified in the old NCRTs. This is how the old NCRTs are important. It gives you the effect of reading Leong and Morgan. Leong and Morgan is a very popular book on human and economic geography. It is quite thick, and this book is this book was written in 1970s. It has not been revised, so I don't suggest you to purchase this book, no, but read old NCRTs. Then why new NCRTs? Because new NCRTs are modern and the modern views are there. Some of the data you will find still relevant in the new NCRTs. Now about other text, you have Human and Economic Geography Rupa Made Simple. Economic Geography Rupa Made Simple. This book talks about all the principles, the theorems, the theoretical part of the models and theories part of the human and economic geography. So you can refer to Rupa Made Simple, and some of the diagrams are very important. Some of the case studies which are in Rupa Made Simple is also very important for you. So please read NCRT plus Rupa Made Simple plus G.C. Leong. This gives you a very comprehensive reading for human and economic geography. And then to find the second level, and the level where you can write great answers, you can tackle questions in IS mains examination. The basic reading is like constructing the pillars, sowing the seeds, creating the platform. Okay, so all this will be required. Reading NCRTs and going through Rupa Made Simple are actually required, and you need not read higher standard books for your basic preparation. Now, in the second stage, when you have to read the syllabus of UPSC and directly take on the syllabus and take on the questions which have been asked and which should be asked. So in that case, you have to read two very important books. One is by Hartshorn, Economic Geography by Hartshorn, and second book which I have seen and I really rate it higher than other books available is Prithvish Roy and Sadhu Karan. I think the Sadhu Karan's work is not found anymore, and that book is not published anymore. I don't know. I'm having a book by Sadhu Karan, and I find it genuinely very interesting and very theoretical, very well explained. And the other book, which I said, Prithvish Roy, will have a lot of accumulation of data and accumulation of facts. Okay. Now, these are the reference books for you. Now, there is a small discussion on models and theories. For models and theories, you don't have one book, and you should not try to read them from one book, because these models and theories belong to different parts of different segments of geography. Like if I talk about the first model, the systems analysis in your syllabus. Now, systems analysis is part of geographical thought, part of human geography, part of quantitative revolution which had taken place in geographical researches after the Second World War. So if you are trying to find out systems analysis in a book on human geography or economic geography, you will never find it. This systems analysis can be found in some of the great works on geographical thought, like the work by Hartshorn again, and also the work by whom? Majid Hussain or Sudipta Adhikari. Number one book is Sudipta Adhikari. Majid Hussain is also very popular, but Sudipta Adhikari's work is much more appreciated these days because of the relevancy. And last time there was a question on time and space geography, and it was exactly taken from Sudipta Adhikari's work. Okay. Now, coming to the next discussion point. Next model will be on demographic transition theory, or theories on Marx and Malthus and comparison between. Now, this belongs to population geography, right? So, while doing population geography, say you are reading population geography by Chandana, or reading population geography by any other author like Kayastha. So when you read those books, you will find that these models are mentioned there, and these models are placed with the other relevant and associated topics of population geography. Right? So all these models are actually found in different sections of the different parts of geography, right? And they're not found at one place. So model and theories are basically the extracts from different part of geography. Some models are from human geography, some from economic geography, some from regional development and planning, some from geographical thought, some from political geography, from demography. So, and there is an attempt by some authors to put all the models together and publish it in a book. However, it has got no relevancy, because I tell you one thing, that if you are trying to read settlement geography, trying to read central place theory, and you have no background of the settlement geography, so in central place theory, it's nearly impossible to learn the ideas which were professed by the author. And Christoller, and the author was Christoller, and it is very difficult to comprehend the theory entirely, or even in pieces. It's very difficult, because you should have a substantial knowledge of settlement geography, then you can learn the theories. Similarly, there is a model by growth pole, growth foci, growth center model to be studied in model and theories. Now, this also has to be learned along with the regional development aspects. So once you understand the cumulative causation theory, or the idea of growth foci, etc., then in association with the regional development issues, you can fully understand the growth pole and the growth center models by Perrox and Bordwille. Okay, so I don't see a point referring you a book on models and theories. It's better, it is much far better idea to read comprehensively the different sections of geography, like population, like settlement, like regional development, and then learn the models and theories then and there itself, along with the other topics, okay, in association with the other topics. Okay, so no books really recommended for you on human and economic geography, right? So let's start on economic geography today. And in economic geography, for paper 1, I hope you keep the syllabus right before you, because your syllabus is imprinted here. I can see it. I can see the entire syllabus at a time. I have that kind of memory. So I can see that you have economic geography, and then it is written there, economic development. The first word which is there, the terminology which is there, is economic development. Then in economic development, how to approach this topic and what kind of questions could be asked. So I have gone through the last 20 years question paper, question bank, and mostly the questions have been asked on the spatial pattern of economic development in the world. I repeat again, the questions are mostly on the spatial pattern, the territorial pattern, the areal pattern of economic development. It simply means that which part of the world is highly developed, which part of the world is poorly developed, and which part of the world is developing, which part of the world is quasi-developed. So dividing the world into different regions, and then explaining the factors why certain places are more developed than the others, why certain locations are more beneficial, more advantageous than the others. So this is the real discussion point in geography, and as we approach economic geography, we have to keep in our mind that we are not economists, we are not sociologists, we are not anthropologists, we are geographers, and geography is the science of location. I repeat again, geography is the science of locations. And what are locations? Locations are those imaginary point on a given surface or landscape where you can maximize the profit and minimize the cost. That is an optimum location. So search for optimum location is the real goal of a geographer. So as a student of economic geography, your goal, you have to keep in your mind that your main goal is to find the optimum locations where you have the maximum benefits, maximum profit. How locations can maximize the profit by minimizing the cost. What is the role of location in profit making? What is the role of distance in profit making? What is the role of site factor? That is what a geographer does. This must go deep in the minds of other geographers also, that geography has a different purpose. So we do mostly the spatial analysis, the space analysis, the analysis of the landscape in terms of their location, the site factor, the distances, the economic distances. So we are geographers. So in economic geography, we are more to testify the optimum locations, to find out the search, the hunt, the investigation for the optimum locations. Okay, so our approach is different, and this is how the questions are so different in civil services. Sometimes the common teachers and the students, they don't realize the nature of geography, the scope of geography, the nature and scope of geography, and they try to convert or transform geography into economics. I am giving you a simple challenge. There have been many questions on economic development. Now in economic development, there have been never any question on the industrial growth rate, the agricultural growth rate, never been any question on the per capita income, never. The question is never about the overall growth rate in an economy. It is not based on the growth rate of an economy. It's not based on the vertical parameters. It is based on mostly the regional analysis, the comparative analysis of regions. The questions are mostly based on the spatial analysis or the geometrical analysis. Now, what is the meaning of a spatial analysis or geometrical analysis? It's a very simple thing. The North America or the Anglo America is highly developed. The Latin America, despite having greater quantum of resources, is not so developed, and some of the countries are actually poor, like Venezuela struggling, Colombia struggling. So such countries are having economic slowdowns. What are the reasons behind it? Why certain countries, despite having lots of resources, are not developed, poorly developed? But certain countries which have resources, which have less resources, they are so highly developed. This analysis is geography. Then why West Asia or Southwest Asia, the petrodollar economies, why they're high on economic parameters? Per capita income is very high. Per capita consumption is also very high. So why they are very good on the economic parameters, but why they fail on human development index, or why the human development has not taken place? The cause and effect analysis is the task of a geographer. So all these whys and how, this makes your geography, the answer to why and how, this makes your geography more pragmatic and more attractive. Okay, I will go on to explain a few more things, because we are making a shift from physical to human geography now. and human geography is going to be a different ball game altogether, a really different ball game. The science suddenly will cease to be, and more of the human aspects will appear. The vocabulary will suddenly change from Coriolis effect and landscape and terrain, volcanism, seismicity, such meteorology, such words will cease to be, and suddenly the common words will come: life expectancy and poverty and capitalism and Marxism, and suddenly your human geography will have more of such flavor. Okay, I'm taking one more example. Say there is a question on industry. Now the question will not be on the production of industry. The question will never be on the trade aspects of that industry. The question will not be on the cost benefit analysis of industry. The questions also will not be on the output input ratio considerations. The questions mostly will be why an industry is located at the place it is found. This is the hunt, this is the search. Why an industry is located at the place it is found. Why the Tisco is located over the junction of two rivers, Sakchi village, Suvarnrekha and Kharkai rivers, that junction, that was Sakchi village, and why it is located on the Chotanagpur plateau. What were the factors? The factor could be either the raw materials, or could be transportation, or could be markets, demand. Now, this is the task of a geographer, to find the optimum location, as I told you. So what was the optimum location or the most profitable location for iron and steel industry in 1907? And that was Jamshedpur. The water was flowing along the river. Every industry will require water, free flow of water. Then the Jharia, the coal fields were there in the periphery of around 100 kilometers. Even the Noah Mundi mines, the iron ore mine Singhbhum, that was very close to it. Limestone was all where, manganese was all where. So because of the raw material sources and the confluence of river, the natural factors, the economic factors, the cheap labor, the human factors, so there was a decision making that this industry has to be located somewhere near the raw materials. Also because a steel production requires 2 tons of iron and 2 tons of steel, 2 tons of iron and 2 tons of coal, and the 4 tons of raw material will produce 1 ton of steel. So the transportation cost consideration, the distance, that is distance, so, and the durability of, perishability of the products, industrial products. So based on such considerations, based on the location of the market and the raw material sources, etc., a geographer actually determines the optimum location. So most of the questions in geography on industry will be as to why an industry is located at the place it is found. Or maybe there could be questions on such principle also, like why some places are attractive to certain industries, why certain places attract industries, right? And why certain industries are running towards particular locations. So such analysis you will find in UPSC questions. Mostly this is the demand. So in industrial geography, you don't have to cram a lot of facts about production. Even in resource geography, you will find that mostly the questions will be on the occurrences of resources, not on the production of, not on the quantum of, not on the availability of. Mostly the questions will be on the location of resources. Why resources are so localized in the world? Why resources are found at the place they are located? the spatial pattern of resources. And then comes the other side of the discussion point. It could be like what the utilization of the resources, the functionality of the resources, in which economic sector they are being used, right? And also which industries could be based on such resources, how it will help in the regional development, how it will help in mitigating the poverty of the people, how it is connected with the employment generation, how it leads to great economic growth and development of your country. So such questions with humanistic approach, with welfare approach also could be asked, right? And any industrial policy or resource policy which has been published by the government of India, that also has to be read and incorporated likewise. Okay. So all I am trying to tell you that as geographers, we have a different approach. We have a completely different approach, and we all will together make our human and geography a very successful learning. I hope so, and your participation will be very much important, because I will be giving you some homework, because in physical geography, all these days, all these 3-4 months which we were together for physical geography, never ever I wanted you to work. I worked much harder than you. You were only supposed to listen to me, understand the concept, create the diagrams, read maybe a few chapters from the NCERT and booklets, but everything was my duty. Now in human and economic geography, you have to take some burden, and some part of learning should be on the basis of your own research work. I will give you the indications, the hints, and you have to do your own research work and develop your human and economic geography. So this was all about human and economic geography, the basic orientation for you. Acha, one more thing which I need to share with you. The very important fact today is that in paper 2, especially the economic geography part of paper 2, most of the questions have been related with the contemporary issues, or which you call current affairs. Most of the questions have a tinge of current affairs, but I am telling you again, those questions have some traditional wisdom, and the traditional geography has to be incorporated when you try to attempt. I will take up such questions someday. Like I can take up one right now also. Say there is a question on a smart city. A smart city was the idea of Narendra Modi, maybe the government of India. But a smart city and the concept of smart city has already existed in our settlement patterns, or whatever models we learn in urban morphology. Some of them are basically the smart city models. Let me give you one example. Like the gridiron pattern of Chandigarh. That's in a smart city model. So if there is a question on a smart city and planning of a smart city, purpose of a smart city, you already know it. Trust me, you know it. You don't have to read Yojana and see the government of India papers. No. Whatever you have learned about the different models on a smart city, the traditional models in geography. So any model is going to have traffic issues or a spacing of the different land uses, the urban land uses, and there is spacing. So every model has to be based on that. Decongest the city, pollution-free city, easy traffic, recreational facilities and recreational living, good environment. So every city has to be constructed with A, economic planning, B, environmental planning, C, demographic planning, D, social planning. ऐसा करना पड़ता है सिटी के लिए. तो when you know what is social planning and what is economic planning and what is environmental planning, then of course you can write on a smart city. But some of the students, they have created this halla bol on myself also that क्या बोलूँ मैं, that is my own pain, because they don't understand the question and then they start blaming upon everywhere. They, except themselves, they blame upon everyone. So if there is a question on a smart city, you have to take some facts, modern facts, contemporary facts from Yojana, but 60% to 80% facts will be traditional. Okay, and once we complete our settlement geography or any other part of human geography, economic geography, we will see the questions, how they have been asked, and we'll try to deal with them. Okay, now paper 2 has several questions related to current affairs, but paper 1, human and economic geography, remains largely traditional. Remember it. So for paper 1, you don't have to work on the current affairs. I didn't say that there is no likelihood of questions from the current affair in paper 1, but largely it is traditional. By far, so far, till 2020 mains, it was largely traditional. Fine. But even traditional questions poses a lot of challenge before a student community, because these traditional questions are mostly theoretical and students write them or treat such questions as a general question, so they never score. Paper 1 mein marking pattern is falling rapidly. I'm a little worried about you guys scoring in paper 1. But paper 2 may can always easily score with the knowledge of paper 1. I'm repeating again, in paper 2 you can score A with the knowledge of a strong base of paper 1, because most of the theories you learn in paper 1, whether it is human economic or whether it is physical geography. Okay, so paper 1 can be very well used in paper 2, the theoretical parts, the laws, the paradigms, the human principles, the investigations by the theorists, the quantifications of paper 1, they all can be used in paper 2. And in paper 2 you can also use your Yojana and regular reading of newspapers will help you in writing paper 2. Most of the issues, the current affair issues, are either related to environment, even for GS, either they are related to environment or to the economic aspects, the world economy, Indian economy, etc., or the economic aspects, or maybe in the field of science and technology. So your GS knowledge of economic aspects, world economy, Indian economy, and your knowledge, current knowledge on environment and ecology, this will help you in a great deal to write your paper 2. So always remember that your paper 2 will be dependent on current affairs, those current affairs which you already read for your general studies. So geography doesn't create any extra burden of reading any different general studies or any different syllabus outside your prescribed syllabus by the gazetteer, your PSC gazetteer. Okay, I hope you understand this. Meaning in paper 2, if there are current affair questions or related to current affairs, you don't have to read some extravagant book on it or any material on it. The simple materials which are in your general studies, they help. And that is the amount of help that is required, because otherwise 80% has to be traditional, even in paper 2. I will prove it with time. I will take up questions from paper 2 and then I will tell you that how every question is traditional first and then it comes with a flavor of, with a small demand of your current affair knowledge. Okay, wonderful. Then I told you that in paper 1, not so much so is required, not so much of current affair is required. All right. Now coming to the last aspect of discussion today on the syllabus part, that is in paper 1 and paper 2, there are lots of similarities, and your human and economic geography, the syllabus is not as big as it may appear when you have a glance on your syllabus. It is not as big. It's very restricted. It is very precise, very small, terse. Okay? Why it is so? Because you can look into the syllabus today and find out the reality. I challenge you. Turn your pages, look at the syllabus and find out. So starting with the say population geography. Whatever topics are mentioned in paper 1, the same syllabus has been given in your paper 2. Isn't it true? Isn't this true? Find out. The syllabus which is mentioned in paper 1, the same syllabus has been mentioned in paper 2. Now, how the two could be different? The paper 1 and 2, they are different from each other only in terms of the data, facts, cases, studies. That's it. Theories will remain the same. Definitions will remain the same. The basic understanding will help you alwhere, whether it is paper 1 or 2. The fundamentals are the same. So easy to learn. Meaning in paper 1, if you are learning population geography, in paper 2, your work is over. Your entire work is over. Except, say you are learning literacy rate for paper 1. And the same is in the paper 2. Yeah, growth and distribution of population in paper 1. And growth and distribution of population in India. This is what is the fundamental difference. One is the world affair, related to the world affair. Second is the Indian affairs. Okay. Now, what is the meaning of population growth and population distribution? What are the parameters to measure them? What are the tools with geographers to measure them? And what problems they create and what are the causes behind it? The problem and causes, etc., all will remain the same in paper 1 and 2. And if there are any model like demographic transition theory, which talks about the population growth, the same can be applied in the context of India. So theoretically, they are similar. Factually, they may vary. Okay. So all you need to do for paper 2 India, that you need to memorize some of the facts, some of the data, some of the statistics. And when you remember some of the statistics in paper 2, your paper 1 and 2 completed. Meaning for teaching population geography, I will take 5 to 7 days. And for you to ever revise and complete population geography, it will take hardly 2 to 3 days. 2 to 3 days shall be very sufficient for your preparation on population geography. I hope you appreciate, you admire, and you understand my point of view. Now, coming to the second example, I can take more examples. Settlement geography. So, settlement geography in paper 1, paper 2, compare. You'll find lots of similarities. Both are having more or less the similar topics. Now, again, I'm telling you the theoretical part we'll be doing in paper 1, and only the application part or some of the related facts about India has to be learned in paper 2. So, settlement geography we can again finish off in 5-7 days, and then we'll learn 1 or 2 models on it. So maybe 8 or 9 days for settlement geography. Meaning our task is easier. It's not like in geomorphology we are learning for 30 days Oceanography 20 days. It's not like climatology will take another 20 days. On online classes, when I'm teaching only 2 hours or maybe 1 hour 30-40 minutes, then it takes much longer days to do justice with the entire syllabus, to explain, to dictate, to make you write, for answer, model answers. So it takes a lot of days. Now, in human economic geography, you will find that your syllabus will be covered much rapidly, and not because of any change in the style of teaching, no, or any modified design of completing the course, no. It will be simply because the nature of the topics are such. Okay, so settlement geography. Similarly, on regional development and planning, you will find the similarity in paper 1 and 2. Same things, वही चीज़ें हैं, यहाँ वहाँ अप्लाई करना है बस. And also in economic geography, in paper 1 you have resource, you have industry, you have trade and transport, you have agriculture. The all same 4 topics are in paper 2, maybe in a much detailed way, in a much larger framework you have to learn in paper 2. But still the contents, the theoretical parts, all will be the same. So I hope you understand the entire design, the entire structure of the curriculum, and we can have very simplified way of learning our human and economic geography.